Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to reactive form in Angular, where we will see how to create the form record. If you remember, in our previous session, we talked about form record but in a very theoretical manner, right? But now it's time to understand this thing with practical example. So what I'll do now, I'll simply show you one simplest example to create the form record using Angular. But before we proceed further with these all things, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to create reactive form in Angular to create the form record. Okay, and for the detailed content, you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3,400 plus sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can consume the content, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me through the comment section. Okay, alright, so now I think we are good to start the session. So here you can see currently I'm in app.component.html file where I have mentioned few headings like Angular course by Sharmit and reactive form in Angular creating form record. Now what I'll do here, I'll simply create we wanted to create one form record, right? So firstly we will go to app.component.ts file. In this ts file I will mention like you can see here, there is one import section, and then in this import section I will define the required thing like a reactive form module, like ng4. We need ng4, right? Then we need maybe key value pair, because this is something, key value pipe, this is something that we need to convert the values, right? So these are the few prerequisites that we need before we move forward. And now here in app component I'll just simply expand it, and after expanding it, here I will define my form record. So the requirement is very simple and straightforward. I want to create one form record with the name phones, so I'll just write like this, phones, okay, then equal new, then we will write here form record, okay, then Angular bracket, inside this we will write here FormControl. And remember one thing, whatever I'm declaring here is importing here because we are using editor, so make sure it is imported, okay, otherwise it won't work for us. Okay, so same goes with FormControl, it is also imported. Now after this we will write here Angular bracket where we will define the type and null. Okay, so this is the thing, and then we will use here opening closing parenthesis, opening to closing curly braces, and inside this curly braces we will define all the controls. Here it should be equal, not hyphen. Yeah, so this is ready. So inside this we will define our controls. So let's say firstly I want to store the home phone numbers, okay, so I will write home, then new form control, and here I will specify the value 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 0. Okay, so this is my first value. Then I'll put a comma over here, and after this I think it should be colon. Yeah, it should be colon. Then after this I will write here office colon new form control, then parenthesis single quote, then I will write 98765432210. okay, so this is the thing. Now you can simply save this thing. That means now we have one form record with two control, one is home and another one is office. Now in HTML what we will do, we will simply use it. Now to use it, let's go to app.component.html file. Here we will define the logic related to HTML. So let's say I want to create div here, okay, so I'll create one div. In this div I will mention star ng for, which will help me to create the for loop. because I want to iterate, so I will define it like this: let item of phones. I'm sure like you know about these things, because this is something that we have utilized earlier sessions also, so that's why like I'm not going into detail, I'm just using it. So you can see I've defined the div star ng for let item of phones dot controls is key value. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now here after angular bracket I will use double curly braces, and inside this I will write item dot key. Okay, then you can simply put one input tag which will allow us to provide the values. So for that, square bracket form control. Something is wrong, we need to write it manually, I think. Form control. Okay, then equal after square bracket, and inside this we will write item dot value. Okay, so this is the overall logic for HTML. Now what I'll do here, I'll simply execute this code, and on browser we will verify like how the things work. So I will simply write here ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds, and then it will show you the output in the browser screen. So you can see we have output: Angular course by Sharmit, reactive form in Angular, creating form record, which is the heading, and one horizontal row. Then you can see we have two controls. Two controls is added. One is for home with home number, another one is for office with office number. Okay, so what basically we did here, we just created one simple form record, and that form record contains two form controls. One is for home contact number, and another one is for office contact number. And when we executed it on HTML, like we just created one div. Through div we execute one for loop. That loop iterate through each item of the phones dot controls, so which is phones is here. Phones is just a form record, and among those form record there are some controls, so we are just iterating one by one through each control, and then whatever values we are getting from this, we are displaying it here along with the input field with that value. So this input field contains that value what we defined inside this. Same thing you can verify here. We have two controls. One is for home, its value, another one is for office, its value. Okay, so I think this part is clear to all of you. And as I mentioned earlier also, like with form record there are multiple operations that we can perform here, like adding a control, removing a control, modifying or updating the existing control. So these things one by one we will cover in the upcoming sessions. Like today, earlier to this session, like prior to the session, we talked about the theoretical thing. Today we learned the process to create the form record in a simple manner, and in upcoming session we will see how to remove or add the existing. Firstly we will complete the adding a control functionality, and then we will see how to remove the existing form control from the from that form record. So this is our whole agenda for upcoming session. Meanwhile, what you can do, you can start practicing these things, and if you have any queries, questions, suggestions related to this session, or maybe related to any particular other topic, session, playlist, then you can simply reach out to me. Why I'm saying for the practice, because as I mentioned earlier also, like there are some sessions which is completely in sequence. So if you go sequence by sequence, then things would be much more easier for you. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today, and see you in the next session. Meanwhile, do the practice. If any question, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions there. In fact, if there is any suggestion, I'll try my best to implement that suggestion too, to make the things easier for you. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics.